You jump off a lunar crater cliff. The ground is miles below. There is no wind, no sound, just a slow, drifting descent. For a few minutes, it feels like flying. Then the reality of lunar physics begins to set in. This is going to take forever. Gravity on the moon is weak, only 1/6 of Earth's pull. Your descent starts as a lazy float. The view is spectacular. You have plenty of time to regret this decision. The silence is absolute, no rushing air, no whistling wind, just the slow, steady increase in velocity. The crater floor looks like a gray smudge. It does not seem to be getting any closer. Boredom becomes the primary concern. Acceleration is the real killer. On Earth, air resistance creates a speed limit called terminal velocity. Air molecules push back against your body. They keep you from accelerating forever. The moon has no atmosphere. There is nothing to stop the fall. Gravity continues to add speed every single second. Velocity climbs steadily. 10 meters per second, 20, 50, 100. The descent becomes a relentless mathematical progression because there is no drag. The kinetic energy builds up quadratically. Every additional meter of height adds significantly more violence to the eventual landing. The distance from the cliff edge to the bottom is now a countdown to a high-velocity impact. Physics is patiently preparing a very loud greeting. You try to swim through the vacuum, it does nothing. The arms flail uselessly. There is no medium to push against. You are simply a human-shaped rock falling through a void. The moon remains indifferent to your panic. The ground is still quite far. Let's assume the cliff is 5 kilometers high. That is a massive drop. On Earth, you would hit the ground in seconds. On the moon, the journey takes nearly 10 minutes. 10 minutes of pure, unadulterated terror. The initial slow drift has vanished. You are now a projectile. The velocity has surpassed the speed of a professional pitcher's fastball. The lunar landscape begins to blur. The gray dust of the crater floor expands to fill the entire field of vision. There is no wind to buffet the body. No clouds to obscure the view, just a clear, high-definition look at the exact spot where the physical form will cease to exist. The acceleration has turned a leisurely leap into a ballistic missile strike. The kinetic energy is now staggering. Your body is essentially a very soft, very organic kinetic energy penetrator. Impact happens at roughly 300 meters per second. That is over 600 miles per hour. The moon's surface is not soft. It is composed of regolith. This is jagged volcanic glass and crushed rock. Upon contact, the body does not bounce. The physics of the collision are instantaneous. The energy transfer is so violent that the organic tissues cannot displace the force. A shock wave ripples through the skeletal structure at the speed of sound. Bones do not just break. They pulverize into a fine powder. The liquid in the cells flashes into steam. The sudden compression creates a localized spike in temperature. For a microsecond, the impact site is hotter than the surface of a toaster. The body is flattened into a biological pancake thinner than a piece of printer paper. The impact creates a small, perfectly circular crater in the dust. The event is completely silent. There is no scream, there is no thud, just a sudden, absolute stop in a cloud of gray powder. The aftermath is chemically interesting. The splatter pattern is perfectly radial. Because there is no wind, the remains stay exactly where they landed. The lunar dust settles slowly. Over the next few million years, the impact site remains preserved. Solar radiation begins to bleach the organic remnants. The vacuum of space mummifies the biological debris. Eventually, the sun's ultraviolet rays break the molecular bonds of the proteins. The human-shaped smudge turns into a strange, dark stain on the gray landscape. This stain is now a geological feature. Future lunar colonists might find it. They will see a weirdly symmetrical deposit of carbon and calcium. They will wonder why someone decided to test gravity with their face. The crater created by the impact is only a few centimeters deep, but it is a permanent monument to a very bad idea. The moon has officially added one more piece of litter to its surface. The laws of physics have been satisfied. The energy has been dissipated. The vacuum remains silent and cold. The total duration of the fall was an exercise in patience and eventually a lesson in high-velocity fluid dynamics. In the end, the fall was a success. Gravity worked perfectly. The acceleration was consistent. The impact was definitive. The moon is now slightly more contaminated with human DNA. The process was efficient and mathematically sound. However, there is one remaining problem. The jump was performed without a permit from the Lunar Zoning Commission. This is a serious administrative oversight. The lack of proper paperwork is far more concerning than the total biological collapse. The paperwork for lunar trespassing is notoriously tedious. The lunar authorities issue a fine for illegal crater modification. The bill is sent to your next of kin. Since you are now a thin layer of carbon dust, you cannot pay it. Your estate is liquidated to cover the cleaning costs of the regolith. Gravity is a harsh mistress, but lunar bureaucracy is worse. Subscribe to the What If Club for more ways to accidentally turn yourself into a geological feature. See you in the void.